Welcome to Real Estate Investing for Women. On this show, you will learn how to create wealth through real estate the blissful way. That means with very little stress and very little time. We talk about strategies, mindset, heart set, money smarts, resources, and so much more to ensure you're able to create the success you most deeply desire. Now, here's your host, Moneeka Sawyer.
Hello there, ladies. Welcome to the Women's Day special episode. I'm so excited to have you here today. I think it's so interesting that March 8th is Women's Day because it is also the birthday of the most powerful woman that I know, which is my mom. I feel like it's not ironic, right? Or it's not a mistake that my mom happened to be born on that day. So this day is such a special day for me on so many levels. And it's a special day for all of you ladies, right? Because it's Women's Day. It's a day where we celebrate the power of the woman. And that's you. And sometimes we don't feel very powerful, right? We feel like the world is so male dominated, especially in this industry, right? And so we don't feel as powerful as we really are. And so today's show is a special honor to you ladies. And I'm talking to a company that's really, really focused on helping women to be successful in the real estate market. One of the things and in investing, and one of the things I hear a lot from you ladies is, how do I find my first deal, right? So how do I get started? How do I know if I know enough? How do I get money? And how do I get my first deal? Well, we've covered the other topics quite a lot. And the deal thing, it seems a little bit overwhelming, right? There's lots of classes. We can do wholesaling. We can do fix and flips. I don't recommend either of those. You guys ladies know that, right? I prefer like the long-term holds because the others are just a job. But if you ladies want to do that, of course, I want to support you in doing that. But sometimes it feels intimidating, like, where can I get my deals? Where can I go to invest? How can we make this system a little bit more simple? So I got a phone call from a woman named Betty at a company called Sundae. She's like, we'd like to be on your podcast, and we're doing a Women's Day thing, a Women's Day campaign, and this is what we do. And what they do is they help to vet properties that are really good for investors. And I just nearly jumped out of my chair. I was like, yay, this is what my ladies need. And we haven't had this on the show yet. So for Mother's Day, here you ladies go, a present. We are talking about, about how to actually get properties and make it simple. And so we're talking to a company called Sundae, but we're not talking to a company. We're talking to a person from Sundae. Her name is Michelle Taylor. And so let me introduce Michelle a little bit. This is what she says about herself. I love her little story. She says, I grew up with parents owning rental property, and as they told me, it's how they paid for college tuition on their humble salaries. It's also one of the reasons I'm passionate about exponential opportunities in real estate, particularly for women and people of color looking to bridge the economic gaps. Professionally speaking, I am a licensed agent and city general manager at Sundae, yay, where I get to marry my fascination with startups and my love for solving problems, all while getting to do good work. I am also a wife, mother of 5, oh my gosh, and a budding buy and hold investor of a few short-term rentals in Sacramento. And this is so sweet. Michelle was like, welcome to Sacramento. You ladies know I'm moving. I'm so excited to be making a connection up there so we can talk real estate. Hi there, Michelle. Welcome to the show.
Hi. So glad to be here, and actually super excited about being one of the first people you might be meeting in Sacramento and around this topic. So I feel very, very lucky. Yes, being Mother's Day, obviously I have a lot of reasons to be really excited about this day, and this topic just has me ecstatic.
Yeah, I love that she just called it Mother's Day. She's a mother of 5. It's actually Women's Day.
I'm sorry. Women's Day.
Not at
Sorry,
all.
your story
But
about your mother, of course, made me think, yes, women are powerful, strong. We
we
bring people into this world. Sorry. Yes, Women's Day.
no, that's the thing, right? Is like you're a woman, a powerful woman, a mother of five, and a real estate investor. That's exactly the kind of person that we want to be talking about on women or talking to on Women's Day. So that's awesome. So Michelle, why don't you just jump in and tell us a little bit about your story, like the 2-minute high level version?
Sure. Just as you shared, I did grow up with parents who owned real estate. I didn't quite understand why they wanted to, own other house that we wouldn't live in, and how come we never lived in the house. But when it came time for me to go to college, and I remember thinking, well, how are my parents going to pay for this? And my mom said, you know, that house over there that you always complain about when we have to go and clean up or do the things that require, to have a buy and hold. She would say, that's my workhorse. I'm going to go get some money out of that, and I'm going to pay for your college tuition. So you're not worrying about those things as a student. So I just know that was my parents' dream, was to send their kids to school, and they were able to do that through real estate.
I love that. I love that. And then how did you get started?
So I worked in a lot of startups. I think I have a fascination with startups because you are always solving problems. And I actually worked for one of the budding major public companies now, but when they were a startup, I was there, and I thought, I'm working with all these real estate agents. I really understand like what they're trying to solve for. I want to get actually into real estate. And so from there, I worked retail for a number of years, and I realized that, like, although there's plenty of shows on HGTV around that, there's so much more to the work, and there's so many other layers of real estate, and there's even so many more opportunities than just living in the home that you're enjoying. And so I start to get exposed to more of that work as, you start to meet clients and they carry you along their journey, and then you want to kind of take your own. So that's how real estate got me, between my parents and just the creative problem solving.
Love that. So you were an agent first, and then
Yeah.
you became an investor, right? I love that.
Yes, I had a chance to see other investors actually buy homes that I thought, wow, no one's going to really want to take on this major project. And you realize there's this whole other sector of folks who just can't get enough of those properties because they see an opportunity to improve the home, bring more value to the neighborhood, and obviously run their business from their work that they've done. So it's been fun to watch, and finally took the leap myself and have a buy and hold property.
Yay, 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 yay. I love that. And all of you agents out there, I know that you're listening to this because you want to become investors, but I love when I see another agent that's actually done that. You guys have access to properties in a way that the rest of us just don't, right? So I think that's totally amazing. And there's another point that I want to make here really quickly, is that you don't actually need to be an agent in order to be an investor. I don't carry my license because I found that in California, it caused a lot of disclosure problems when I carried my license and wanted to invest. So I gave up my license. So there's lots of different ways to do this. I hear a lot of investors, the very first thing they say is, oh, I'm going to go get my license. That's not necessary, right? Would you agree with me on that?
I would definitely agree. I would say the majority of investors that I work with have the same philosophy, that they just feel like it allows them to really just focus on their business and not have to worry about the licensing component of obviously traditional real estate with that license. So yes.
Yeah, because you've got to renew that license. You've got to hang that license somewhere. Usually you have to pay that broker. There's definitely other obligations around licensing. And so I didn't want to deal with that either. So anyways, awesome. So Sundae is really focusing now on getting women investors. You said you've got 9,000 investors. Is it subscribed to the platform?
So actually it's not a subscription, but they're able to come to the platform and they are able to vet properties. So basically online, they're able to see properties. They're also able to access home inspections, which saves them a lot of time. They're able to see Matterports, so they can do virtual walkthroughs. Our value add is really for them to be able to compete on a property, because we know how hard it is to come by inventory these days. So see a lot of property without necessarily having to step foot in it, which will save you some time. And then also provide discovery documents so that you're able to see, how did it inspect? What is the condition of the title? What are some things that we may have to navigate to, be able to resell this property? So it's a great time save and also insight, just lots of content for investors to consume on our website. So they're able to also learn about the business as they're growing.
Got it. Okay, perfect. So you say you've got 9,000 people that are on the platform as investors, but only 20% are women. Is that true?
That is correct. And obviously, we want to see that number grow. I personally think that women are able to really bring a new aspect to the business. So we want to let all people know that we're out here, but especially women who may feel like it is a challenging industry to step foot in, that it's a avenue to maybe help bridge some of those gaps. If you really want to feel secure about the opportunity that you're going to consider to flip or to hold, the more information you know, the quicker you can review that information, the better you're going to be able to compete and hopefully win one of your bidding, and also feel confident that you didn't necessarily buy completely blind, because if you can't walk through a home, that can be a little bit daunting, but at least if you have some materials to review, can definitely make you feel much better about your decision making.
I love that. So Michelle, you bought a property in Sacramento off of the platform. Is that true?
Oh, no, not I. I haven't bought it through our platform as an employee.
Okay.
I cannot, but I purchased the
Oh,
home prior to working for Sundae. And
okay.
so, but I have worked with investors who do. I actually have a female investor who buys lots of buy and holds. So she does short-term Airbnbs around the Sacramento region near a hospital. She has a very particular sort of buy box that she's trying to find, where she wants to be near hospitals or colleges, and she has a particular square footage and age that she's looking for. And so you'll see her win bids quite frequently because she's very familiar with our platform. She's able to engage our content, make a good decision quickly, and then bid aggressively where she feels like there's going to be lots of competition. And so she really enjoys our platform and talks very highly about how much it's saved her money and time over the last year.
Nice. Okay. I love that. What would you say? I believe women have a huge advantage in real estate investing. What do you feel like? Do you feel like we have, I mean, there's obviously disadvantages too, but could you talk a little bit about your perspective of, like, as female investors, what are the advantages and disadvantages that we bring to the table?
I can share my observation, and I
Mhm.
think that what I see among female investors is that they're very creative in their approach,
Mhm.
where they will see a property and might see three different options. We could do an ADU, we could accessory dwelling in this space, we could update just part of the kitchen and most of the bathroom or all of it. They just are very creative, adding an extra space and getting more value out of the property. Whereas I think sometimes our counterparts, when men are approaching a flip, it can be very standardized in their approach. We're going to flip every component of it. We're going to stick exactly to the previous footprint. And this is obviously just some generalizations, but I do find that women tend to be much more creative, both with the use and their approach, even when remarketing the property. So I think creativity is definitely our advantage.
Yeah, I love that. It's so funny. I love everything you're saying. You can tell. It's it's so funny because I'm out in Sacramento every weekend right now because we're remodeling our new home,
Oh,
and
wow.
I'm there with my business partner, and so we've started to look at other properties. Well, he's a guy and I'm a woman, obviously, and so we bring, we balance each other beautifully in the business. But it is really funny because I kind of drive him crazy with what you're calling creativity, right? Because I'm
Yeah.
like, we look at a piece of property, he's like, well, we could build 4 condos here. I don't know if it's going to pencil out. Lumber's really expensive, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, what if we did this? We could have one facing that way, and then we could have 4 residents. And I'm like, oh, and he's like, whoa, 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 whoa. We don't know if it's zoned for that. I'm like, well, we can find out on that. Like,
Yeah.
it's or like talking to my contractors who he's remodeling my house. I'm like, well, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this, we could do, like, what do you think? What is the best option? And he's like, we normally just do this. And I'm like, yeah, but we could, So it is interesting. Like, I come into the conversation and I drive these guys crazy, but then once they like settle down, they're like, wow, that's a great idea. Or yes, we can do this. But I need to, this is one of the things, ladies, I don't know if you found this too, Michelle, but you come into the conversation and you have to give them a few minutes to like reground and rethink, because they don't move. I think this is a generalization too. So
Yes.
ladies, for men, if you're listening, please forgive me. But we we can move in so many different directions so fast. And the guys are kind of like, whoa, like slow down. They need a day to digest. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah.
I also think that women tend to be more willing to play the long game in real estate, where it seems that more often when you're talking to male investors, it's about how quickly can we sell this, and obviously the profit margin for each one of those deals. Within the investment community, I just think that's majority flips. But most of the women I work with, as I'm thinking about it, they all have a decent size of portfolio that's just buy and hold. And in fact, they'll say, I'm never selling these. And that's really where they see themselves.
Right. And yeah, definitely. I see a lot more of that too, is we're planning, we're using it. Maybe my business partner says more like a savings fund, right? It's for the future. It's to pay for education. It's to pay for retirement. And we want to hold them to pay for those things. Right. So I actually see that too. And, I wonder how much of that is we don't feel like we really want to have our hands in the mud on this, right? You don't want to be getting our hands dirty. We don't want to be doing all the flipping and all of that stuff because we have to hire contractors for the most part. That's not always true. Again, we're just generalizing, but it does feel like women are sort of like, you know what? I'm happy to make this the long game because you don't want we don't want our fingers in the mud or whatever type of thing, right? Would you say that that's true?
I would definitely say that's also things I've observed in the business is it's also, I want to hold on to this as long as I can. I'm thinking more of legacy or what to pass on to my other family. And whereas I see men are, they definitely are, let's take this down, let's demo this, let's get this back on the market and move on to the next one. Like it's a much more hands-on, hands-off almost sort of approach.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with you on that. If you could look back to where you started, what would you advise you based on what you know now?
That's a great question. I definitely would have started sooner. I would have started where I could. I think in my mind, I felt like I had to have a certain amount of income in the bank already to do certain things, or I had to be a certain age even. And I think if I would have just started in real estate younger, that would be great, even if it would have been just a condo even. And I think now that I look back and you see those prices that have changed so much, even within a 10-year span, and you think, gosh, I could have bought twice as many units if I just would have been willing to take the leap. If I would have been less fearful and more creative, maybe in my approach.
Yeah, I love that. And that's one of those things that I see with women all the time. We're like, we really want to be ready. Right. And I've always say it's kind of like having a baby. Like maybe you wanted a baby your entire life, but you're never quite ready, right? There's never a good time, right? You know this better than anybody, right? But but when you want something, you just got to do it, right? And I think that's the same thing with real estate is we need to birth that business because if we don't, it doesn't have an opportunity to grow as fast for us or in our lives, right? So I always want women to start sooner than they think they can too.
And every deal will teach you something. So I think that's the other situation. Like sometimes we imagine that maybe we will have a property for a really long time and you realize, actually, it's time for me to let this one go because a better opportunity is coming. I feel like real estate, like children, will teach you something about yourself too. Like, why am I so attached to this property? Or why did I think this was a great deal? All sorts of things. And you learn something both about the business and yourself with each property as well.
Yeah, I think it's really true. This is not, real estate or any business. You really do find out what you're made of when you're investing, right? And so you not only, I'm sorry.
I said, even your threshold for pain. Yes.
That's right. That's right. And because you learn those things, you're able to do the business better later, but it improves your life too, right? Because you realize how powerful you are. Like if you actually find what that threshold for pain is, what you will find, lady, is it's significantly higher than you thought it was. right? That's a
Great.
terrible, like I always say, there's tiers in real estate. Well, you find where those tiers start, right? And you find how much you can take. This is not supposed to be scary. That sounds a little bit scary, but I'm just saying that you grow and you realize your power and your capacity, because the reality is that almost anything that comes up is not going to take you down. You take it down, right?
Yeah. And there's tears of joy for sure. I think it's
Absolutely.
it does something to you when you're able to visualize getting a property for a particular use in terms of like an investment, and then actually manifesting that, where it's like, this really is an Airbnb, this really is a rental property, this really did resell, like I thought it, I imagined it, I executed it, I can do it again.
Yes.
And when you get really good, obviously in your case, you can teach other people how to do it too. So I think that's a really powerful thing anytime you can pass it on.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. We are already out of time for our first show. So ladies, I want to talk about a couple of things. First of all, we do have an extra coming. We're going to be talking about what are the biggest red flags that Michelle looks for when considering a deal. And she's going to talk about not just what she looks for, but what she's seeing a lot of her ladies that are on the platform, what they're looking for. So she's going to be sharing that with us in extra. Also, as our free gift to you, Michelle and I are going to be holding a webinar, and she's actually bringing in someone else. Her name is Jennifer Wellborn. So as three ladies are going to come together for a Women's Day special to talk about overcoming roadblocks as women property investors. So we're going to be doing a webinar, and okay, take a pen, mark this date, Thursday, March 17, from 1 to 2:30 Pacific time. So again, that's Thursday, March 17th. It's about a week and a half, 1 to 2:30 Pacific time. And go to blissfulinvestor.com/Women's Day. So that's blissfulinvestor.com/Women's Day. Did you want to talk a little bit, Michelle, about what you guys are going to be covering in that webinar?
We are planning on covering, actually, we're interviewing you. We're finding out more about what it is that, women should be looking out for in a real estate deal. So
it'll be, so that's the thing, is this is going to be a different kind of webinar. I think that's why Michelle's like, I don't know, because
I'm not sure how much I'm supposed to give away, because I know that we have a lot that we are covering. And, when you are speaking for your company, sometimes those things are also developing in the process. So
yeah.
I want to not get too much out of the bag on that.
Thank you for being respectful. So I'm actually feeling the same thing, which is why I asked you. But let's talk a little bit about this. So what we've set up, ladies, is we wanted to have three powerful women that are in real estate. Two of them are coming from Sundae. And we're going to talk about what are the roadblocks that we've experienced and what are we seeing other women investors experience, and how can we overcome those things, right? So it's going to be kind of an open conversation. I'm going to be interviewing them. They want to interview me. So it's going to be a really fun, open conversation. And the lovely thing about it being a webinar is it's live. Those of you ladies that are there, you can ask questions because you have obviously experienced roadblocks, right? So you can have three really powerful women that you can personally ask questions of. So it's going to be really, really a fun, open discussion. And it really is focusing on the power of us women as investors and how to really amplify that powerfulness rather than kind of getting stuck in this isn't working or the things that make us feel like we can't do it, right? Does that sound right, Michelle?
Absolutely. Yes. The roadblocks that we all have to encounter and then either have solutions for or decide that we have to go in a different route. So yeah.
That's right. I love that. Okay, cool. So are you ready, Michelle, for our three rapid fire questions?
Yes.
Okay. So tell us one super tip on getting started investing in real estate.
I think a super tip is to get a mentor, learn from someone who you like their work. They're able to prove success and you can learn from them. They're willing to share their experiences.
I love that. And then what is one strategy on being successful as a real estate investor?
Consistency. So I think looking at your market all times of the year, because obviously there's some seasonality to it, and really consistently taking a look at deals, not always looking to purchase, but to just know your market. And the only way to really know your market is to consistently review the deals that are successful.
Yeah. One of the things that I really appreciate about that is that even if you're not looking to purchase, if you're looking around, you get to know areas, zoning, parameters, so that when you find something that you want to make an offer on, you're ready to go because you've got all of this wealth of information on that market. So you can confidently make offers. So nobody's actually really said it that way. So thank you for that, Michelle. I love that.
For sure.
And then what would you say is one daily practice, Michelle, that contributes to your personal success?
I get up pretty early every morning and I make at least an hour of that morning to be about centering myself, usually through some form of fitness.
Okay.
I think, we spend a lot of time in different mental sort of buckets of thought. And I think as an investor, you have to jump through, sometimes you're thinking financially, marketing, you're also thinking economics of like, what is the next year going to look like? And to be able to do that fluidly, I think you also just have to be physically disciplined so that you can do the work when it's not always maybe your wheelhouse, but it's part of the business. And then you can flow freely in the areas that are your passionate parts of it and just tap into your creativity. So I think having that morning hour really helps those days be a little more in flow than out of flow.
That's great. I also believe that exercise really gets my mind more stabilized. It gets me more into my body also. So I'm able to utilize all my resources. And I do feel like exercising makes me significantly more creative.
Yes, absolutely. I love how you put that. That's exactly why I do it. Because trust me, there's some mornings where I'm like, I'm so tired. I can't believe that I chose to get on this treadmill or whatever it might be. And it's like, as soon as it's over, I'm like, that's why, because I feel like my mind is snapping, into clarity. So yes, I love that.
Perfect. Michelle, thank you so much for all you've offered on this portion of the show. This has been super
Thanks
fun.
for having me. Yes, thanks for having me so much.
Yeah, of course. And ladies, stay tuned for Extra. We've got more. We're going to be talking about what are the biggest red flags Michelle and her clients look for when considering a deal. So if you are subscribed to Extra, please stay tuned. If you're not, but would like to be, go to realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com and you can sign up for free for the first 7 days. And then after that, it's a subscription, but it's very, very low cost. So it's a huge value for what you pay. But anyways, that's realestateinvestingforwomenextra.com. For those of you that are leaving Michelle and I now, thank you so much for joining us. Happy Women's Day. Yay. Go out there, be your most amazing, beautiful, wonderful self that you are. I'm so delighted to have you on this journey with me. And I do look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, remember, goals without action are just dreams. So get out there, take action, and create the life your heart deeply desires. I'll see you soon. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you'd like to find out more about how to become a blissful millionaire, go to blissfulinvestor.com. See you next time.